as long as we make the show. We can be the best or we can be the worst, so we can be the best thing you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words, but this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. Out on the dirt ovals we play, life in the bright lights with no shades. Letting her go, letting her rip, letting her fly, tossing her in sideways, living the life, letting her ride, eyesight winning to die. Cross her up on the cushion, crossing the line, cause some drama and some bullshit they didn't like. And if they don't like the mood, then we're ready to fly. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. This is how we roll, this is how we do. It's not for everybody but the chosen few. And we pray, cause we know that they might not ever come back. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. We can ride high, we can ride low. We can ride anywhere we need to go. We can ride all night up to the morning, as long as we make the show. We can be the best or we can be the worst, so we can be the best thing you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words, but this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. Out on the dirt ovals we play, life in the bright lights with no shades. Letting her go, letting her rip, letting her fly, tossing her in sideways, living the life, letting her ride, eyesight winning to die. Cross her up on the cushion, crossing the line, cause some drama and some bullshit they didn't like. And if they don't like the mood, then we're ready to fly. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. break, cause we know that they might not ever come back. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today. Oh my, we are here today. The lights are on, the white impact signs and awnings and wraps. Oh my. We're taking the music down. We got plenty of things to talk today. Obviously, it's a little bit earlier in the afternoon. I guess, is it afternoon? I guess, is afternoon after 12 o'clock? Or is it, after 2 or 3? When does noon end and afternoon begin? I feel like this could be a debate, actually. When does afternoon begin? And when does evening begin? I mean, noon is kind of like the only thing that is defined, I feel like. I know this is off topic, but hey, we're off topic it. It is a very odd thing to define. I mean, morning. What is morning? Is it AMs only? So then how long does noon actually exist? If morning is defined by AM, for instance, I mean, I don't consider 11 a.m. morning. Did noon start? Did noon time begin? This is off topic, I know, but I'm actually curious now. Please put it in the comments on when does this could be an actual debate. I'm going to have to make a meme of this. We're going to be talking about memes today. I'm going to make a meme of this and be like, when does it start? This could be the largest debate in world history. When does noon begin? When does it end? When does afternoon start? And when does afternoon end as well? When does evening? Evening, that doesn't have a definitive time tied to it. Noon is the only thing. I feel like most people have morning, noon, afternoon, evening, and night. I guess night as well. So when does night start? Is that when the sun goes down? I don't know. 7 o'clock at night, the sun ain't down. We're racing tonight at Wilmot. We're not racing tonight at Florence, but they're starting at like 6 or something. So this is a debate. This was not planned. I had no intention to talk about this, but I am curious on what people think. What is morning, noon, afternoon, evening, and night? I'm sure that the chat has something to say about this. Y'all are in there. Somebody said, ask the Amish. Such a beautiful topic to start the chat with. I agree. It is a beautiful topic. I mean, 11:30 is noon, somebody says. We got them in Minnesota. Oh, my. The Amish. I'll ask my brother down the road. Oh, that is definitely an Amish way of thinking. Asking your brother down the road. So we are going to be having on the show today the one of the essential members of bringing in Bitcoin to the sprint car world. I think people underestimate how big this actually is. The Bitcoin community in general, 100 million people. 104, I believe it is. I believe 60 to 70 million of those are American based. And once again, I've been saying from day one that the issue with the sport is relevance. You go down the street, most people think a sprint car is a Miata, a super late model. What are you talking about? A 68 Chevelle. And I think that that's a very, very big issue with the sport because we all want it to get bigger, but if new people and don't get introduced, then it's never going to grow. And I do think that a lot of new people, if introduced to the sport, would like it. I was in a Twitter space, one of my first, or I've been in a few Twitter spaces, but I was in one 2 days ago at the Bitcoin people to talk about this and roll this out and explain things, what this is. They're all talking about F1 and things of the sort. And the one and one guy talked about, only thing I've ever seen is NASCAR. This guy had like an English accent. And he's like, when I saw the video of what we're doing here, it's like, wow, this thing's cool. And then I break down the talent brackets. I'm like, I know y'all think your F1 and NASCAR drivers are good, but you got to understand, The only guys in these seats in F1 and NASCAR are probably funded at least in NASCAR, probably about $10 million. You need in quarter midgets and micros and sprint cars and ARCA and trucks and Xfinity rides to get to NASCAR Cup Series racing by the age of 20 or 23. It's at least 10 million. It's probably 25. It's probably $25 million that you need from a childbirth. Once again, adding up the quarter midgets, adding up the asphalt midgets, whatever, the legends, the late models, the micros, the midgets, the sprint cars, the ARCA rides. I mean, the ARCA rides are, 3-4 years ago, they were 1.25 million for a season. K&N West was 750,000 for a year. So I was explaining to them how, due to that monetary system of how racing selects the stars you see in NASCAR, and F1's even more money. I'm just giving the NASCAR example. There are drivers or talent which cannot be taught. There are talented drivers who don't have that amount of funding. They don't get the opportunity or the finances to even dream of obtaining that NASCAR goal. Now, they could be just as good or better talents. A lot of people like to reference Kyle Larson. Well, he came from nothing. He didn't come from money, but I'll tell you right now, money came to him very young age. Not everybody's that lucky either. There's other drivers that are just as good that, the guy didn't pick them. So, due to that fact, here in this sprint car thing that this Bitcoin community are being introduced to, there's a lot of ballers that didn't get to move up the ranks. Not because they didn't make as many shots, but because they didn't have as much money. Now, obviously, I reiterated, this isn't a cheap sport. I mean, race-ready car on the track's around $120,000. They're racing for $100,000 to win Thursday, $200,000 to win Saturday. So I was, not just a bunch of rednecks going in circles either. But due to this explanation, I mean, people's minds were blown. And I'm not really off basis too much on the factual department. Not saying that NASCAR drivers can't drive, right? I mean, everybody has talent. Tim Tebow could throw the football, I just think in racing, Tim Tebow's can look like Tom Brady's due to the monetary system that can keep Tom Brady's out of the game. It's just true. Knoxville's racing tonight here down the street. There's just as much talent in that 410A main field than there is in the Cup Series, in my opinion. Our national series, our super late models, especially, probably the most competitive, most talent field. In our sprint car series, 2 to 3 times the amount of talent and competition, in my opinion. In my opinion. I mean, look at PA Speed Week. Larson finished 6th or 7th at Lincoln. I mean, he won at Hagerstown, but he got outran at Lincoln. I'm just saying, guys, finished 2nd to Anthony Macri. This is the GOAT. Where's their credit? But anyway, I think it's a huge opportunity for the dirt track racing world to get exposed. That's why I'm personally calling it the largest fan expansion opportunity that this sport has ever seen. When you have a community of Bitcoin to that degree and that size, that are sports fans and race fans, getting exposed to something else, having a horse in the race to cheer for, that's huge to me. That's a lot of new eyes, a lot of new people. And it's going to be absolutely amazing to see what happens here. And we're going to have Mike on here in just a little bit to talk more about the puppets and things of that sort. But the opportunity here is just amazing for the sprint car racing world, for the dirt track racing world, and fan expansion, which is unfortunately something that the sport really doesn't do a good job at doing. I mean, I think the sport does a real good job at selling to the same audience and making the same audience excited and hyped. But as far as expanding outside of the same audience, I don't really see the sport doing too much of that. I see my billboard sometimes with the World of Outlaws, but what are they looking at? Most people don't know what they're looking at. And so I think there is a big gap there in education and relevance of the sport that needs to be explained. Now, I do think that if you were to explain that publicly, you are threatening a big industry that makes a big amount of money and has a lot of clout on a false image. So that's dangerous, I think, to some people who are invested into the image. So, regardless, that's what I think. Personally, I think this is huge. Absolutely huge. We're going to learn more about what the puppets are. Obviously, it's not Bitcoin, it's powered by puppets, Bitcoin car. We're going to learn about that today, what that is, that industry, the angles, the hype the partnerships or the partners are trying to obtain here. But I think us in the dirt world, we need to really focus on the opportunity here. I mean, all it takes is some guy, in the Middle East with the sheet, thinking that watches the race on FS1, which FS1's ratings may go out the roof now because you got a potential 100 million people interested in watching the sport. The Chili Bowl was live on YouTube earlier this year, and there was only about 65,000 viewers. You put this on FS1 and get 100,000 viewers, you're going to embarrass the sport. So hopefully that helps as well, the FS1 broadcast ratings. A truck race averages 6 to 800K. And that's considered trash. NASCAR averages 1.5 to 2.5 million per broadcast, and that's considered trash. We're floating at one of the biggest races in the Chili Bowl. We're floating at 65K to watch it for free on YouTube. Just saying, guys. We need fan expansion in the sport. And I want to hear, we're not trying to NASCAR the sport up. There's a big gap between where we're at and where NASCAR Cup Series racing is. Hell, there's motocross in the middle. There's Monster Jam. There's rally racing in there. There's all these different sports that we could kind of get close to, right? Right now, we're 8 times smaller than the NASCAR Truck Series. Our excitement isn't. Our racers aren't smaller in talent. Our fans aren't less passionate. The action on the track ain't less. So what's missing? What's missing? People. Expansion, awareness, what it is. So that's why I'm so excited taking this partnership that has, I hope, shake some hands with Ron Rutherford's team, Tyler Walker, and this Bitcoin powered by puppets, Mike Markle. He's going to be on the show here in just a little bit. That's why I'm very excited about it, because this, in my opinion, this is the best thing that I could ever potentially done as far as help the sport expand in some capacity to this degree. And I think more people within the industry need to do that as well. And they definitely have way more resources than my ass running in my mouth here on YouTube and getting my bleacher thrown out of the seat at Path Valley by Gary Kaufman. I'm just saying. There's people with way more resources than that. Now, he's making them. I ain't made $1 yet on. We'll see. Will I? I don't know. We'll see. To me, the payment in this is if the sport gets bigger, if these drivers get the respect, if the sport gets the exposure that it deserves, if it grows a little bit to the point where our greatest race car drivers in the world don't have to go into the corner and not come out of it to be seen on your news networks and cherished and idolized. That's the only time they truly get cherished and idolized. That's the sad part. Now, it happens in sprint car racing way more than the other stuff, and maybe that's why, it's always been my favorite sport, but maybe that's why I get so pissed off about it, too, when I talk about it. Anyway, let's look into some of the stuff that's happened here recently. Actually, I think we're good to go on the interview. Are we not? Let's hear. Are you there? Michael, are you on the other side of this deal? I think we actually have him. He's in. He just flew in on a saucer, ladies and gentlemen. He's climbing out. He's walking out. He's sat down. There he is. He's there. Michael Markle, you have arrived. You're there. I don't know if you just heard my little rant. I thought I was going to talk about results and races raining out, but that's not what happened there. That's what it means to me. I don't know if you've heard this. I think I've told you this privately, but I thought that was good right there. That's a 10-minute segue. I mean, I'm telling you.
Everything you do is good, Chaz. I'm very happy today. It's the final weekend before King's Royal Week, which is like one of my favorite races in all of the world. One of the best weeks in motorsports. I've been going to this event for like probably over 20 years now, which is kind of crazy and sad at the same time. We got Bitcoin ripping to all-time highs right now. I think we're sitting at like 118,000 a coin. I actually have my Bitcoin Crocs
Oh
on
my God.
this beautiful, beautiful Saturday. So we got Tyler Walker confirmed as a driver. We got Ron Rutherford willing to take a risk and try something different with this community-driven effort. And I'm just excited. So good vibes today.
Good vibes, and this has to be pretty big. Hold on, I'll go ahead and throw up. I mean, Ron Rutherford is taking he's taking some swings here. Uh, obviously he had his PASP week deal with Tyler going, and then you made a call to me, and I'm like, hold on, let's make a call to him. And then next thing you know, there's new cars in the shops and motors being lugged in, and obviously they had their PASP week. It obviously performance wise wasn't where everybody wanted it, but it's just getting Tyler back in a sprint car, getting acclimated to racing on the track again, which isn't no easy task either. And then after a long week of spending all that money going PASP week racing, I bullied him into getting a new car. I mean, that's how it feels a little bit. Well, I didn't do it. I'm not saying I'm not taking credit, but it seems like Ron really believes in this partnership between Bitcoin and the puppets and you and Eldora and Tyler enough to put a new car together. I mean, I'll throw it up on the screen, but a brand new Maxim KKR style race car in the shop at Rutherford Motorsports, getting wrapped this weekend. Hopefully, we can have some pictures by the end of the weekend to show. And then obviously you got the new T-shirts, but then also the engine dyno. They're putting some repetitions on the motor. This is a big effort by Ron to go to this degree with the new car, new motor, everything, and it's kind of all around your dream in a way, of being involved with the King's Royal. You're from Ohio. You're the guy on this. So
Yeah, no, it's yeah, shout out to Ron Rutherford. Like I said, I'm excited to meet him. I love the fact that he is a 360 team trying to go 410 racing. Anything that we can do to try to get another team in the sport at the 410 level, I think that's a major win. Big shout out to Tyler. Like, I'm glad he's on a track to redemption and doing good and back in a race car, which I think is the best place for him to be. Looks like he performed. I know they didn't perform the way they wanted to in Pennsylvania for Speed Week, but trying to run a Speed Week, that is like, that's probably one of the hardest things to do in this sport, trying to do it every day, getting 2 hours of sleep every day. You're dealing with a new team, a new driver, let alone a driver that really hasn't been active for a while. So yeah, big shout out to Ron Rutherford. I'm really looking forward to working with them. It's been an absolute pleasure this time. And major shout out to the Bitcoin Puppets community. This is something I've dreamed about for a while. Like, we put a Bitcoin on an Indy 500 car in 2020, I think was the Indy 500. Somebody in the Bitcoin community named Jack Maulers, he stepped up, did a similar style where he got a bunch of Bitcoin donations to be able to get Bitcoin on a race car. So that was really cool. That's something I always wanted to do for sprint cars, especially for the King's Royal. But yeah, major shout out to Bitcoin Puppets, who is a subculture in Bitcoin that just want to have fun. They want to go fast. They want to go racing. So they actually were the ones to put up the money. And when I say they, Bitcoin Puppets is like there's 10,000 unique puppets on Bitcoin's blockchain, and they all donated about $28. Not all of them, but a lot of puppet holders did a $28 donation towards this thing. And we were able to raise the money through a grassroots effort to be able to get a puppet on the car. So that's like really cool. And it's a King puppet because it's King Tyler the 28th. And like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of new eyes looking at this. There's puppets coming to the race. They already got their campsite laid out. So yeah, I'm just really excited for the turnout online. They're hyped about it. I hope the motorsports community is hyped about it. Tyler coming back to Eldora where he last won, I think that's a big story. And I'm excited. Like I said, these puppets, like, the race hasn't even started yet and they're already amped up. They're making memes. They're ready to go racing. They're going to be tuned in. So I hope the motorsports community is just as amped up because this is a big week.
Well, and it seemed like being in that space, like, once I wasn't lying. There was people who never seen it before, but when they saw the cars, looked at a few clips, they're like, "Holy shit, this is cool!" It seems like they like it. The cars.
Yeah, like shout out to Blaine who designed the car. He designs race cars for a living, but it's not easy to make I wanted something unique for sure. And the whole story behind Bitcoin Puppets is it was a 7-year-old or maybe a 14-year-old that drew these monkey pictures. If you look at the puppets, they're like little monkeys in Microsoft Paint. And Microsoft Paint was a software that I used as a kid growing up on the internet. So I think he absolutely crushed the design. I'm super excited to see it in person. It's definitely different. We weren't trying to have it look like a typical race car, but we also didn't want it to look too silly because, I mean, how do you make Microsoft Paint monkey pictures look good? But he did a really good job. And I'm just, like I said, I'm over the top with how everything's coming together.
Yeah, and it's obviously one of the best. I think some of the best looking things you got going on right now. I mean, the T-shirt is just next level. Did Blaine do the T-shirt design as well?
Yeah, shout out Blaine. He's absolutely crushed it. He's been collaborating with me for a while now. Like I said, I work in the Bitcoin industry. I help put on one of the biggest Bitcoin conference. It's not one of, it's the biggest Bitcoin conference in the world. And I also work for Bitcoin Magazine. So Blaine's been in the background helping us with designing some stuff, whether it's logos. Like I said, I've always thought the sprint car community in particular have a good taste on design when it comes to race cars, or even apparel. I don't think NASCAR apparel even comes close unless you're going back in the day to like the early 90s or the late 2000s. So yeah, shout out Blaine. He absolutely crushed the design. I wasn't able to give him that many resources because I was like, here are the puppets, draw me up something. And he just absolutely crushed it. So shout out Blaine. And yeah, shout out to all the puppets. They love it. They love the design. Ron loves the design. I'm not sure. I'm not really tapped into the motorsports community. I don't know what they think of the design. I think it looks cool. But but yeah, we'll see what it looks like in person.
Well, and then obviously, merch is big. I believe you are going to be having like a puppet trailer at the damn race. I mean, what's going? I mean, this is going all the way out. This just isn't Tyler Walker showing up and Rutherford throwing a car together and kind of, you coming up with some shirts out of a damn, out the back of the trailer or something. There's actually this is being like set up professionally. It seems like you are coming in to make a statement.
Yeah, I mean, it came together quite quick. I think we started working on this 2 weeks ago.
When we
We
talked on
raised,
the phone, yeah, 2 weeks
yeah.
ago, it's crazy.
So it's been a full-on sprint. I'm happy with the progress so far. Like I said, we launched the Mint on RDX, which is how the puppets were able to donate. And we were able to raise the money through that. So like that was huge. And then yeah, like we are taking it very serious. Ron bought a new car, bought a new motor. I'm bringing a merch trailer. I have a lady designing and manufacturing all the merch. We also did an online website for those that can't go to the race. I think it's pups.fit. If you want to go ahead and get the shirt there. I am worried that we're going to sell out at the track very quickly. And I don't have a way to get more shirts at the track. So if you don't get a shirt, or if you don't want that stress of trying to make it to the merch trailer right away, you can go to pups.fit and get a shirt. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And yeah, like we're taking it very serious. I know the puppets are fun and it's kind of memey and it looks like a joke. And, that's the irony in all of it. Like at the end of the day, we're here to have fun. It is a little bit of a joke in a way, but we are taking the competition very serious. Eldora is not a place where you show up and just joke around. So again, couldn't think of a better person to partner with on this than Ron Rutherford. Because when you try to explain this vision to other people that may not understand, they're looking at you like you're insane. And I can understand why, because this is insane when it's all said and done. But I'm just happy the puppets are showing up for this. So shout out to them.
Well, and then obviously, it didn't hurt that you're gonna have a trailer and you can have Tyler Walker come up there and fans obviously want to meet him and I'm sure heck, me being involved there, run my mouth to the motorsports community about what y'all are doing, and then at the track as well, doing shows, full interaction. And is there anybody else going to be there? Are you going to be the one working the t-shirt trailer? Is there any like hot, attractive puppets going to pop in one day and sell some stuff? I'm just saying. I mean, are you shipping anyone in from Puerto Rico? What's happening? I mean, what's happening here?
I guess we'll have to wait and see. I will most likely be in the merch trailer because I want to be in the grind of it with the fans and get their reactions and meet the people. So I will be in the merch trailer. We're talking about shipping in people from Puerto Rico. I have a lot of people reaching out saying they want to help me. So we'll see, man. I'm taking it one day at a time. Like we still have a lot of work to do from now until we load in on Wednesday. So just taking it one step at a time, but we're chugging along. So
Well, and obviously, weather's a little concern. I think everybody's looking at their freaking weather report, and it's been what it's been all year. We've had plenty of races run and not run, saying it's going to be sunny and then it be bad, and then saying it's going to be bad and it's sunny. But we know Eldora's, they're one of the best at trying to get a race in. I've been there pretty damn late. I think you've been there pretty damn late.
it
And
never
the great
rains in
thing is
Eldora.
the fans show up no matter what. There's people right now. I actually did make a Facebook post about this because it was so insane to me. Uh, I got a Snapchat from a guy who was in the grandstands filming, and I was like, "What are you doing there?" And he said, "People are literally putting chairs outside the gate right now to get in line Wednesday morning to put their chairs on the hill in the grass area." Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's everybody's seeing it. He's saying campers will be rolling in tomorrow. This the degree of how big the Kings Royal is going to be this year, I think, is bigger than we've ever seen. You said you looked at hotels; they're all an hour and a half away already. Usually, it's a 20-30 minute gig. I mean, this is a huge combinational storm of things. So,
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I mean, I've been going to Eldora a long time. I've had the pleasure to meet Earl and Bernice. That's a story I could tell another time. That was really cool. And yeah, I don't think you have a better promoter with Tony Stewart. I mean, he even though like some people are critical about, maybe they've been going to Eldora in the 90s and it's not what it used to be. I just think that's all FUD. At the end of the day, like what Tony's done to that place is absolutely incredible. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. It has such a aura to it when you get in there. Like I'll never forget the first time I walked in the gates, looked down into the track on 3 and 4, in turns 3 and 4, and was just mind blown.
mhm.
Um,
It's only
so
gotten better as far as that goes,
yeah, I mean,
presentation.
he's absolutely done a great job, and it's always left a positive impact on my life. I've had the opportunity with Bitcoin to travel to a lot of places in the world that I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to go to. And I always try to hit a motorsports event in any part of the world. And it's just crazy to me that like this has been not in my backyard. I'm from like Northeast Ohio. But it's amazing that we have this track in Ohio, and it's such it's a gem. I mean, people that have been there definitely know that. I'm sure they would agree with me. And it never rains at Eldora. That's the beautiful thing because we're not going to say the R word for the rest of the show, but if it did happen to, the fact that it's in the middle of nowhere and it's its own city that pops up for these big events,
Right.
they'll run a feature at 4 a.m. I hope we don't have to do that, but we're prepared to. So just like I said, I think this is not only the biggest sprint car race in the world because you just can't beat the atmosphere of it. I love going to Knoxville. That is an amazing event as well. But I just think Eldora, in terms of the aura,
Presentation.
the presentation, the prestige, is absolutely incredible. And then going back to what you said about this probably will be the biggest Kings Royal, I actually agree with you 100%. Like, I was pretty mind blown how hard it was to get a spot for vendors. Like, vendors is sold out. I was told camping sold out, which is crazy to think about. And then even looking at the entry list, like, I don't think I've ever remembered a time I remember going to Royals and being like, wow, Tony Stewart and Casey Kane are competing. Like, that's crazy. We have Casey Kane, we have Kyle Larson, we have Chris Bell, we have Chase Briscoe. We have all these like NASCAR drivers coming in for this thing. So like I said, it's just a beautiful time to be alive.
Oh, and then also I think another added point to this. Whether
Oh,
people,
and hold on, sorry, Ty Gibbs. That's the other
oh
one.
yeah.
Joe Gibbs'
Hopefully don't
grandson.
put it in the
So.
fence like he did at Vegas. But regardless, we also have the greatest drivers in the world in sprint cars, also. And I think that another angle to all this is the rivalry between High Limit and World of Outlaws. And now you're going to put them in a week, and they both get a shot at the stage, and all the drivers will be there as well. So that playoff atmosphere that we've been seeing with some of these smaller events, even when High Limit drivers or World of Outlaw drivers show up, now they're going to be. It's almost like it's a championship game for the week, because now it's the Knoxville Nationals. Now it's the big next level. It's like a bowl game, really.
Yeah, like I said, you can't beat the aura or prestige of Eldora. Like, I think it's so cool. I know it's a motor track. It's a big track. You definitely need motor, but it's still a track that's tricky, and you need setup, and you need to be not scared. You need to be able to pin it to the top along the fence and try to steer the car as least as possible, try to keep it as straight, and you'll probably put down a quick lap. So I can't remember what the track lap record is. I think it used to be a 12:09 back in the day
I
with
think
Craig
Gravel
Jones.
busted it.
But I think Cravel, right, I think he beat it. So that's insane on a half mile, let alone on dirt, let alone with a car that weighs 1,400 pounds. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm curious what the final entry is going to be for this week. Like you said, I think they posted 63 entries. We weren't even on there yet because we didn't want to enter and break the news until we were ready to. Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if we get around 80 cars, which is amazing. So
And I can't wait to see, your puppet community who's never been to a sprint car race. Wait till they've seen videos, obviously. Wait till they get there in person, and you're underneath the grandstands there on the front straightaway, and they come by and just barrel into one and two in a pack. I mean, it's pretty surreal. The acoustics at Eldora are underrated there as well. Not only because it's in the ground, but also underneath that big awning there on the front straightaway. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's almost NHRA level when they're going.
that is a good point. I was just at Norwalk for NHRA. And yeah, anytime you watch a top fuel car do a pass, like you're never going to experience that on TV. You have to be there in person. And if I had to like rank some of the top spectacles I've seen in motorsports, like I'll never forget standing along the fence at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the MotoGP, which is like the F1 of motorcycles. And they would just rip by on the straightaway, and you were so close because you were right up on the
Mm-hmm.
wall. And it was just so mind blowing. Like that's somebody on a motorcycle. And then the other thing that comes to mind is, going to Eldora for the first time for the King's Royal, and you're standing there in the infield. Like this is something I suggest for everybody to
Yeah.
do at least once in their life, is like watch hot laps in the infield going into turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget that. And I was just like, and then you'll never get that on TV. You have to be there to like see it. So truly a spectacle. Yeah, anytime you see a top fuel car do a pass, that's always pretty cool. Been to the Indy 500 a few times. Like, yeah, I love it. Love the tradition. It doesn't really do it for me. Been to the Daytona 500. Again, cool, but doesn't really do it for me. So yeah, just super excited to finally be a part of something for the King's Royal.
Now, when you say part of something, obviously, like you said, you facilitated or was a part of the Bitcoin conventions. Obviously, this is a subculture with the puppets. It's not like the puppets ran the Bitcoin convention. Talk about how this intricate system works, because everybody's heard of Bitcoin, and it's like, why really put Bitcoin on a car? Everybody kind of already knows about it, but I could see the angle here of almost using like puppets as this angle, that it's an actual product, because I believe it's NFTs, right? But what is this puppets thing? Because people are confused. I have one guy who does a lot of research call me. He's like, Chaz, I looked up this puppets. It's not that big. It's not Bitcoin. Like it's like they're confused though, because it is.
Yeah, so why don't we back up a little bit? So this has been like kind of manifesting in my mind for several years now.
And we tried to
I
do
got
something at the million. Remember, we tried to do
Yeah,
something at the million.
yeah. And anyways, just some background on for your viewers that may not know who I am. I did engineering for a long time, for like the first decade of my career, which was great. I loved it. And then 2020, COVID happened, and I got really serious into Bitcoin. And the reason why I got really serious into Bitcoin is because I saw how much money they printed. Um, and I knew some Bitcoin is not something you can print more of. So I just kind of like went all in Bitcoin in 2020. And so I started writing about Bitcoin. I started writing about like things that interest me, whether because like Bitcoin's ultimately a tool that can really empower anyone in the world. That's why I think it's one of the greatest technologies of our time. Um, and so I started like, okay, what am I interested in? Okay, I'm interested in Bitcoin right now. Well, what else am I interested in? Well, I don't know. Like I've always liked motorsports and things like that. So I started writing about like, how what Bitcoin could do for motorsports and things like that. And I remember this was around the time the high limit series was introduced, because of frustrations with racer pay, things like that. Like World of Outlaw events always paid, I think, 10,000 to win, but 10,000 in 1980 is not the same as 10,000 today. So there was a lot of frustration with that. And, I was writing about how ultimately, like, I don't think it's a sanctioning body's fault for why racer pay is not keeping up. I think it's ultimately the money that's used to pay these racers is broken, and it's at the tail end of its life cycle. So I've always like wrote about how Bitcoin would fix this and would fix racer pay in a lot of ways. But that's a hard thing for people to grasp because, I'll share this. Like, I'll never forget the first time I heard of Bitcoin, which was pretty early on. I want to say it was 2013 or 2014. And we all have the same like path into Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is like when I heard of it early on, I was like, it's nothing. It's
Imagine
not
if you got in
real.
then. Oh my God.
Not real. It's a scam, all this
Yeah.
stuff. Um, but it didn't take until something like COVID happened where I was like, wait, like they can just print, you know, out of the all the dollars in the history of our monetary system, they can just like print 60% of it in 1 year, which is just going to rob, the have-nots and provide new wealth to the haves, which I think is, I don't stand for something like that. I don't think we should have a money that one man can print and take it away from another man. I think that's absurd. I know I'm going on a rant here, but that was kind of my intro into this. Was just like, I always wanted to do something that blended Bitcoin into motorsports because, like I said, this is a tool that, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a kid in Africa that doesn't have access to financial services, or a BlackRock, or a random race team in Pennsylvania. Like Bitcoin is a tool for human freedom, which is something I care deeply about. I believe everybody should have the right for individual sovereignty. And I believe Bitcoin is a version of that, and it's unconfiscatable wealth. Um, so like I'm just, really excited that this deal finally came together. I did try to put something together for the million. I want to put a pin in that because I still like have ambitions of doing more work with Bitcoin and motorsports. But it was really cool to see, a community and Bitcoin rally together to put up the funds to do this. Because again, this isn't a central authority. This isn't a business. This was literally done through community donations. And I just think that's really cool. And I know people are like, well, Bitcoin puppets isn't Bitcoin. But it actually is, because what Bitcoin puppets are is, yes, you can throw around words like NFT and all this, like, crypto, Web3, whatever, which I all think's buzzwords and is total junk. Bitcoin puppets is like, think of it this way. If you have a dollar bill, right? What makes up that dollar bill? Well, 100 pennies. That's like the smallest unit of like our current USD monetary system is a penny. So if you think of a Bitcoin, there's 100 million sats. They're called Satoshis. So the smallest unit of a Bitcoin is called a Satoshi. And what these puppets are basically data inscribed on these little individual sats. That way, it's verified using block or using Bitcoin to know that this is actually a Bitcoin puppet. So that's why
Mm.
there's 10,000 unique puppets. I don't like using the word NFT. That stands for non-fungible token. This isn't a token. This isn't a crypto. It's not a separate thing of Bitcoin. Like this is Bitcoin. Um, I'm not going to advise people to go out and buy a puppet because like what you're doing then is like you are buying Bitcoin, but you're buying the smallest unit of a Bitcoin, right? For a lot more. You're
It just
not
kind
paying.
of has a representation. It's like a
Yeah,
face on
it's
a
like
quarter.
think of it this way. Like it'd be like me trying to sell you a penny, but I'm like, look, it's a special penny from like before the Great Depression, and some people might value that more. So they might pay $20 for that penny, but a lot of people be like, that doesn't make sense to me. So while it is Bitcoin, this community is a little bit different. But like my whole thing at the end of the day is like there's a Bitcoin logo on the car. And I think everybody should own a little bit of Bitcoin because you're putting yourself at a major, major risk if you don't.
Well, speaking of
So
the million, I think you were joking at the time. You like sent a letter to Logan Schuhart about how he should like take a part of it and put it all into Bitcoin, and it would be worth more today because that's basically what Bitcoin somewhat fights is inflation. Even though it floats on a value of its own, it doesn't. The USD fiat currency, for instance, is always deteriorating. It seems it's always on a slope.
it's funny. I was just thinking about that today. I think the last time I came on your show, I think Bitcoin was around 87,000 a coin. And obviously, like I'm a big Bitcoin bull. I think Bitcoin will be worth more in the future than it is today. But it was funny because like at the end of the day, it is volatile. And however, it's volatile going in the up direction. And I think when that interview came out, Bitcoin was at 87. And then we had a mini bear market where it dropped from like 87 to 79. I'm always like, man, I don't want to ever advise people to go out and like, spend their hard-earned money for something to drop in value. But here we are, a couple months later, we're back up to all-time highs, which is great. And you brought up the Logan Schuhart thing. I do remember drafting a post, and it was during the bear market, and it was like because the million was in what 2023.
23, yes, I do believe
So
so.
yeah, so yeah, like let's like role play. Like okay, like everybody's pissed off, right? Like racers are like, I can't make money racing. What the heck? We need to increase racer pay. Well, yeah, like if Logan would have, let's just hypothetical here, like let's say Logan did realize, hey, the dollar's failing and Bitcoin and it's hyperinflating against Bitcoin. I should probably, take this money that I just won and put it in something that is going to, go up in value over time. Like I think Bitcoin was sitting at, I want to say around 38,000 then or 39,000. So if he would have taken that million and put it into Bitcoin, he'd be sitting on like 3.9 million today. So he would have like 4x'd. And
Versus putting it into a savings account, it would probably.
oh, he'd lose money. Yeah. If he kept it in cash, like they're going to inflate it. I mean, it's only a matter of time. There's no other option. I mean, the data is beyond obvious on that they're going to print
And then
continue
the
to print.
purchasing value of that, what is that now too? Because that drops as well. That moves.
Yeah, I mean, I think people like we're so programmed and we've had the privilege of the dollar being our global reserve currency and like Americans benefit from that the most. However, like I think people should like really take a step back and realize however you're measuring economic growth nowadays, if you're measuring it in dollars, you're not looking at it correctly. Like if you think about it, like stock market's probably at all-time highs right now. But you're like, wait a minute, how come like my dollar's worth less? Well, the economy's doing great. We're booming. Okay, why is my grocery bills like doubled and I'm getting less amount of food in my grocery cart, right? So I think people need to like, and this is something that's not going to happen today. It's not going to be something that happens tomorrow, but like, you know, I think people need to adjust their thinking a little bit and ask themselves, like, what is the role of money and what is it supposed to do? Because if you just think it's this green piece of paper, you're missing the point completely. So, but that's something that's been pre-programmed into us for a long time. So that's why when I say Bitcoin, I think it's one of the greatest technologies of our lifetime. And people be like, what do you mean? It's been around 15 years. Like, why is it not, if it's so great, how come it's not bigger than it is? And my argument would be, well, it's quite remarkable how big it's gotten in 15 years. Like, if you look at its market cap, I think it's at 2 trillion. I think it took Google, if you were to look at Bitcoin like a company, which it's not, it took Google, Facebook, Amazon a lot longer than that than to get to 2 trillion. So like the fact that Bitcoin's gotten there so quick is really quite remarkable, especially when it's not a company that doesn't have a marketing budget, that doesn't have like a central authority leader that can like implement things. It's quite remarkable how quickly it's growing. And I always give the example of like, I think it's remarkable that we've already seen a nation state with that being El Salvador. Yes, that's a small country in Latin America. They've adopted it as their official money. The government drafted a strategic Bitcoin reserve this year saying the US government needs to start buying Bitcoin and we need to build a reserve. You have S&P 500 companies now talking about putting it on their balance sheet. You have Bitcoin treasury companies popping up on the market, on the stock market, that are entering to like, not, these aren't like scrub like companies. These are companies that are like getting into the NASDAQ 100. So imagine like these big companies, like you get kicked out of the NASDAQ 100. You got to go to your board and say like, how come we got kicked out? And they're going to be like, well, somebody that's just like, some companies came along and all they're doing is buying Bitcoin and they're kicking our ass and we don't know why. And it's like, there's going to be a light bulb moment. So, I'm not here to be on the show today to like bull
Right.
posts and, dump your life savings into this. I would never
Well,
recommend
can it
that.
get too
But
big? Like BRICS, for instance. We see the tariffs on Brazil because they're a part of BRICS. It's the rising. That they're trying to develop their own things outside of the USD world. Um, do you do, can Bitcoin get too big, or are you just saying people are integrating to the point that it can't get too big?
can Bitcoin get too big? I mean, no, I don't think so. I think it's only going to continue to go up, and that's because fiat has no bottom. They can continue to print as much as you want of it until it's completely worthless, completely devalued. So, um,
And the other
so
cryptos are junk, right? These other things we hear about, most of them, correct?
yes, with where we're at in the game right now, like just focus on Bitcoin. And we don't have to get into details today as to why I believe that, but I truly think Bitcoin's the only one that has the properties of a commodity. So, like oil's a commodity, corn's a commodity, Bitcoin's a commodity. Somebody launching a token and they control 90% of the supply and they market it and dump it like a meme coin, that's not a commodity. That's like an unregistered security. So,
Like hot to a girl.
right, exactly. So, yeah, like it's a little bit unfortunate because I know because Bitcoin is so closely tied in with crypto, it does get a lot of bad rep. Like people tend to bucket it in with all this other crypto. Um, but it really is different. And, we can talk about why that is another time. I want
Right.
to talk. I
Well,
want to
but I
talk.
just think that's a good point to make because that is sort of what adds the validity to the pennies of the puppets. I think that's why this puppet powered by puppets situation is puppets are basically like a quarter in a way. It's not as much as it is to $1, but it's a quarter versus $1 million if there's a million sats, for instance, and they vary as well. I would assume on their value. How would a person even see these Bitcoin puppets? We could do a screen share. Tell me what we do with this Bitcoin. How we get to it? What is this?
Yeah, so you have to go to just a marketplace that's reading Bitcoin's blockchain to be able to see like the puppets that are inscribed because it's arbitrary data on Bitcoin. And this is actually kind of a controversial subject in Bitcoin
Okay.
because at the end of the day, people like if you know what Bitcoin is, like myself, I believe Bitcoin is perfect money, which means it should only be used as money and it should only contain data that's relevant for financial transactions. However, since Bitcoin doesn't have a central authority, it's this like decentralized thing that anybody can opt into. Sometimes data, we call it arbitrary data, meaning data that's not really financial data, right? Like if you look at a puppet, that takes data to inscribe that little picture onto Bitcoin, and that has nothing to do with financial data. So some people say, well, Bitcoin's it's the most secure database in the world, which is true. But some people also think, well, it can only hold so much data because it's designed so simple in nature that all the data that should be used in the Bitcoin should be financial only. It should not be used to inscribe, pictures on Bitcoin's blockchain. Some people would say that's like putting graffiti on, something you're building. But I think it's all good for Bitcoin at the end of the day. Like I'm more in the camp of like I want Bitcoin used as money. Um, and at the end of the day, like we just need people using Bitcoin, and it, even if you want to inscribe worthless data into Bitcoin, that still requires an on-chain transaction, which helps secure the network. It gets more people involved in the network. It's all good at the end of the day. So yeah, like I said, shout out to the Puppets community. They really resonated with this. They like to have fun. And I love the Puppets community, and I'm excited to show them what sprint car racing is.
Okay, so if a person wanted to see these puppets, or how would you do it? You just Google Bitcoin puppets type of deal, or what would you do?
Yeah, just go to Bitcoin Puppets, and then
Let's
uh,
see here. Just
one of the
type in Bitcoin
popular,
puppets, and then when it says some Magic Eden or something.
yeah, Magic Eden's like an exchange. It's a marketplace where people can you can view the puppets, you can list the puppets for sale, you can buy a puppet. Um, but yeah, like I don't know if you have it up on your screen, I
Yeah,
can't see,
yeah,
but
we do.
it's basically 10,000 unique puppets. They're all unique in their own
And there's
way.
only 10,000. It's kind of like Bitcoin, only 21 million or whatever that is as well,
Yep, there's
right?
only 10,000. So, yeah, so and I just really resonated with it when it came out. Like I thought it was so absurd and funny that like I was just like, this is cool. But like I said, not financial advice here. I think just if you're looking to this show for financial advice, one, like that's absurd, but two, just learn what Bitcoin is, because that can be a pretty monumental task alone. You don't need to get into the subcultures quite yet. Do that 5 years down the road when you really
So
understand.
each one of these puppets have a value that is different, it looks like.
Yeah, because you can list, it's like, think of art, right? Like it's all subjective. Like I might own a puppet, and if I want to list it for sale, like there is a floor price for like what the least valued one is. That's what the floor price is. But I could list it well above it. It doesn't matter because I might think mine's more rare or something.
So what would the general value of a .03 uh BTC, which is a Bitcoin, what would that generally be? It seems to be
So
around what most of them are.
yeah, so if Bitcoin was sitting at 100 grand, which we're not, we're sitting at 118, it would be 3 grand. Because like think of it this way, if one Bitcoin equals 100 grand, then 0.001 of a Bitcoin would be $1,000. So if it's 0.003, it'd be around 3 grand. But since Bitcoin's a little more than 100 grand, we'll just call it they're probably around
Well, but this
3,500.
is saying .03.
I'm sorry, I meant to say
Okay,
0.03.
sorry. So you're telling me these little things here are worth around 3,000 a piece?
Yeah, because the market says so. It's a
Wow,
free market.
that's
Yeah.
almost comical in itself, is it not?
It's funny because they actually got up to half a Bitcoin a piece in the bull run, and it's kind of comical because the artist that started it, we don't know his identity. That's kind of the beautiful thing with these communities. Like you don't really know the identities behind these people. You just know them as their PFP or their profile pictures. And he's out of Amsterdam. We know that. I don't even know if I should dox that, but he did it he launched this collection in such a unique way. Like he didn't.
Wait, hold on. I just noticed something. We had it on low to high. This is high to low. It's showing some in here for like 69 Bitcoins. Or are these just fake listings? They're just like
I
jokes.
wouldn't call it a fake listing, but I doubt anybody's going to pay that, right? So
Right.
but you
It's
never
showing their
know.
last. So like 0.13 is the last time this one sold over here. That's a legitimate number. If 0.03 is 3 grand, this one last sold at 0.24. So are you telling me that's like a $24,000 ish puppet? Is that what you're
I mean,
saying?
you'll have to look at whatever the last one that
It
actually
said it says last 0.24. That I would assume that's what it lasts or what it was purchased for, correct? Correct?
Yeah, probably
And 0.24 would be what?
quarter of a Bitcoin.
Quarter of a Bitcoin. So around that's a $25,000 little thing with a damn hat and a cigar and a banana in its hand. What the hell are you talking about here? Wow.
I
Now you
mean,
got some 0.42. This one sold here with the rainbow glass. That almost looks like a mid-90s Jeff Gordon right there. Look at this
yeah,
thing, 4.2. So you're saying that was this is a $40,000 puppet?
Bitcoin, I think, was worth less. So you can't, once again, remember we were
Oh,
talking,
okay. So it's fluctuating. Okay.
you're trying to price something in the wrong thing
In
because
in
you're
in the in
in
the USD
dollars.
mindset,
Yeah,
yeah.
like for example, I know Puppets got up to like around zero point 0.4 Bitcoin, I think at its high, which you're like, whoa, that's 40 grand right now. But like Bitcoin, I think was like 80, maybe 70,000 when that happened. So I mean, it's still impressive the value that these things got up to. But again, like this is all subjective. I don't want, like, I'm not here to get on
Go
your
buy a
show.
is there going to be a Tyler Walker puppet? I mean,
They did make a honorary Tyler Walker puppet, but it's when I say honorary, it doesn't mean it's part of the collection, but it's an honorary of him, which is pretty cool. I thought that was cool that they did that. So we will gift Tyler that Bitcoin or to his mom. I know his mom's a Bitcoiner, which is really cool. Um, so so yeah,
that's crazy to learn about these things, you know.
don't learn about it, guys. Again, like
Well,
get
this is what's going to be on the
okay,
car. I
listen.
mean, that's
Yes, I understand that, but like pay attention to that Bitcoin logo. And I would advise learn Bitcoin before you start getting into the subcultures, you
right.
know? So, but shout out Puppets. Like I said, I love the community. I think they're great. I love the fact that this collection was launched very similar style to Bitcoin, meaning that it was launched in a fair way. Like people could go and mint the puppet, but at the time, nobody really knew what they were. Um, so like even the artist himself, like he didn't like benefit really from this asset growing as much as it did. Like he just did it for the love of the game. And I think that's really cool. I think that's like a lot of the ethos of Bitcoin at the end of the day. Like there is no central authority, there's no central figurehead. Um, so yeah, like I said, I'm really stoked. They're a very active community on Twitter. I'm excited. They're excited for this race. They're like I said, a lot of them are coming. A lot of them are going to be tuned in, and a lot of them are memeing a lot of things right now. And I think that's really cool. I think that gets the engagement up, which is good, gets more exposure. So yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for everybody.
Now, when you say memeing, obviously this is somewhat of an interactive. Obviously, it's based on puppets. I mean, the puppet itself is somewhat of a meme. It looks like in a funny way, almost not all the way. Um, but what y'all have like a meme contest going on this still? All kinds of crap. Not crap, obviously, but all kinds of stuff. Obviously, everybody's cool about the t-shirts and stuff, but I'm going to your Twitter right now. Obviously, you've been posting some things about it, and getting some hardcore interaction. Just your post yesterday, I think it was, or 2 days ago, about the announcement of the cars already got 70,000 reaches on it. There, that's I think that's comparable to Rico's release of his Whiskey Myers car. Then the T-shirt release
Like
as
a
well.
4X on that.
What is that?
Said it's like I think Rico's. I'm not here to compare to Rico. I love Rico. I'm a big fan of Rico. Um, but I think his post did like I don't know. You'd have to look it up, but I think it did around 26,000 views. So
Really?
like Yeah, so that's kind of my like lesson here for motorsports, and this was kind of my whole pitch. Like, you should involve communities that get excited about this because they will help elevate the reach of this. Like, I don't have any connections. Like, people are probably like, "Who the fuck is this guy on your show?" I've been around sprint car racing a long time, but I'm not really connected. I don't have a family. Like, my dad grew up doing demolition derby. Like, I don't have like a family history of racing and motorsports. So I don't really have the connections like that. But the fact that we brought in this community and they're behind me and they're helping promote this, this is why I think we have the possibility for this to be one of the biggest stories going into Eldora. And I don't even know if the motorsports community knows about this. Like, I haven't reached out to some of the outlets in motorsports. Like, I'm just kind of doing this on my own with this community behind me. Obviously, you've been a big help too, Chaz. I know we've known each other for quite a while
Right.
now. But that's what I think is cool about it at the end of the day. Like, you got to be thinking different to
Yeah.
get exposure to something. And I think this is a totally different avenue and it's thinking outside the box. So that's why I was excited to take on this task. Because yeah, at the end of the day, like, am I a critical piece in this operation coming together? Like, I guess I connected the two, but like, this was a community driven effort. Like, yes, I connected the two dots, but it's now that the dots are connected, it's up to them to see how big we want to make this thing. And it's also up to Ron and the team to see how well they want to execute on race day. So, um,
And then obviously promotional aspects, a little me, a little Tyler, a little you at the track, that's a part of it. But yeah, not trying to cut you off, but um, 26K on the Rico post. Yeah, you were right. And he made a video and it's got like 7,000 views, 8,000. This is on Twitter, so it is a little different on Twitter. The dirt
yeah,
racing
but I
one.
just what I would do want to say though is like, I really hope I get, you know, Rico he has done such an amazing
Oh
job
yeah,
thinking outside the box and marketing and engaging with his fans. Like, this isn't compare, like, I'm not trying to compare to Rico. I just think I think he is arguably probably the best marketer in the sprint car game right now,
yeah.
which is why, like, I do see like, what does he do to kind of like gauge like how we should go about things. But I think he's honestly like, he is such a, man, like, I'm just such a big fan, to be honest. Like, I
Well,
think,
and I think he is somewhat of a fan of this because I mean it's not far fetched to say that you know the 70K that you interacted with on your post is potential Rico fans eventually. It's I guarantee the 26 that liked his or saw his are more so in the dirt world community, and a majority or some of the 70K that like yours is a part of that Bitcoin community that the sport's being introduced to. And Rico is obviously, if they show up or watch or do anything with the sprint car world, Rico's going to be one of the eyes they see.
yeah, I mean, he's one of the best motorsports drivers in the world. Like, I think, I have a lot of respect for how he moves. Like I said, I think he's a fan favorite because he earned it. Like, he's so engaged with his fans. He's a wheel. He's a two-time Chili Bowl champ. He's going to be one of the cars to beat at the Royal. He's won at Eldora multiple times. He finds new ways to engage with his fans. And like, dude, the guy's been at it for a long time. Like, he's been on a grind. Like, it's not easy being in this sport. And I just like, I admire the way that he's moved and thought outside the box, and which is why I'll always be a fan. And yeah, I'm excited to see what he does with his career moving forward.
Okay, so back onto the Twitter here. Obviously, you put the release out. You got the picture there. What is the memeing about? How can people see these memes? Is there certain hashtags that you have to type in on? Is it a Twitter meme challenge? What's the whole deal here with the memes? What's this with Sheldon running from cops? What's this all about? What's going on?
I don't know. That's the beauty of it, right? Like, memes are very powerful. We all kind of joke like memes is a meme, right? Like, oh, it's just silly. But memes can actually be very powerful and can make very powerful statements. And when you add a puppet in the meme, it's just funny because it's like these little caricatures. And yeah, somebody did make a meme of a sprint car running from the cops. I think the photo is actually when um oh, what was his name? The guy, the football player
Oh,
that
OJ.
OJ, yeah.
That's what it is. It's
I
OJ.
think
Yeah.
it's the picture of OJ's white Bronco running from the cops, but instead of the Bronco, it's a sprint car with a puppet driving it. And I think that's hilarious. And yeah, like there's so many cool things that are going to get created. And this community is very active. Like they will engage with you in a friendly and fun way if you poke fun at them or poke them a little bit. So yeah, we do have a meme challenge out just to get the community involved. Like I'm a big meme guy. I think they're hilarious. So yeah, like just wanted to use the hashtag Kings Royal and tag the puppets community, and you have a chance to win some Bitcoin. So it's a cool little challenge to get the community involved, and they're off to the races already with it. So I can only imagine when it comes race week and race time, they're amped up. Like I said, we're like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're 4 days out from the first day, which is crazy, and they're already going crazy on the internet. So the excitement's only going to build. I invite everybody in motorsports to take advantage of this opportunity. Like this is a massive community that's very active, and there's plenty of room for everybody to eat. So like, just have fun with it. Let's grow the sport. Let's get big numbers. That's what excites me. And let's just have fun at the end of the day. That's what this whole effort's about, is just having fun. So
Interesting. And then, oh God, I typed in hashtag Kings Row, and if you do that right now on Twitter, it is not. You won't find anything really. The only thing I see is like a Sammy Swindell saying, "Yeah," from the World of Outlaws, but everything else seems to be at Bitcoin puppets involved. Hashtag Kings Row. Now, some of them seem like they know it's sprint cars. Some of them seem like they don't. But now we have a puppet on the Kings. This is blasphemy, Michael. You have a puppet. It looks like it was Brad Sweet at one time, but they have changed his head, which it's not a ginger kitty anymore. There's a ginger kitty on his lap. And he has, I'm gonna say a blunt out of his mouth, Michael. And it's a puppet. And then the trophy girls are puppets around him with the 69 on his chest. Have you seen this um, meme in particular? This is pretty extreme here, Michael. What are we gonna do?
yeah, you're making me nervous. I don't know. I can't filter what the community posts. So hopefully it's nothing too crazy. Hopefully it's family friendly. But yeah, they're
This is a good one. It's Fast and the Furious. It's Vin Diesel from the looking across saying, "Hey, bro, what's the retail on one of those?" And it is a puppet in the Tyler Walker puppet car saying 1.69 BTC, and Vin Diesel looks over and says, "How much is that in fiat?"
Yeah, like I said, here's what, again, this is what I invite your viewers and the motorsports community. Like, again, we are 4 days out from the biggest event in sprint car racing, and nobody's talking about it. Why? Are you guys not excited? Are you guys not amped to get back to Eldora? Like, hello, this is massive. Like, let's have fun with this. Like, I want to type in hashtag Kings Royal and not just have it be all puppet memes. I want to see like people getting ready to go to the Royal. I want to see people setting up camp. I want to see fans excited. I want to see race teams. I want to see like, come on, like this is a massive opportunity. Let's show what this sport's about. So yeah, World of Outlaws, High Limit, Eldora, the fans, the teams, the drivers, like what are we doing? Like, come on, like let's get amped here. I'm amped. Are you amped?
Oh yeah, this is in. I'm blown away at what I'm looking at. I'm reading as you're talking to
Yeah,
me.
I hope I'm scared that you're just like,
Well,
we're just
there's one
live.
that says when you thought they meant a different kind of rap, and it's a rap of the car, and then it's a wrapper of or a string of protection, we'll say, in a wrapper. Um, It looks like there's one from Twisted Metal, the video game. I like the video game ones. Those are clean. Where it's got the
Yeah,
sprint
no,
car in
that
there
there's
racing.
think of the effort it takes to make those, you know? So like, and these people aren't getting paid. Like none of this is all community. This is all people doing it for the love of the game. So like I always respect people putting an effort into something, even if it's something simple like creating a meme. Like that's I love that. Like so yeah, it's kind of wild what people are already creating. And it's only going to get better. So yeah, stay tuned to that.
Oh God! And then I guess you're going to be paying 10 people in this meme contest, is what it shows. 10 people.
Yeah, I think of like when I raced back in the day. I would rather pay like I don't know if you have the payout up on the screen, but instead of like there used to be like a go-kart race that paid 50,000 to win, which is a ton of money for a go-kart race. And that grabs a lot of headlines and publicity. But then like second place pays like, $1,000 and you're like, what the heck? So I like when it pays back through the field. So I think that's why I did on this one first, pays almost about the same amount as second and third and fourth. That way, and we pay all the way back to 10 because I want people to, yeah, like I want everybody to have an opportunity to win some money here. So yeah, it's just a fun little challenge. It was something I thought of on the fly when we were doing all this. And I didn't even have, what's crazy is like, I didn't even have to put up the challenge and like this like memeing would still be going on. So, but yeah, like I said, I don't know. I just want to implement what motorsports has taught me. And this is a way for, me to get back involved into motorsports. I'm excited. I'm taking this opportunity very serious. Always been a big fan of sprint cars. And yeah, like I said, I have such a love for Eldora. It's been such a magical place just because like I always went to the Kings Royal and camped out. And even as a kid, it had some aura to it. And even meeting Earl and Bernice and seeing like the aura that he was and how he went about life and how he treated people. It's definitely something that has stuck with me for a long time. Like I was pretty young when I met him. I'll actually tell the story of how it happened. So me and my friends, we went and camped out at the Royal every year. I think this is when we were still pitching tents, like we were young, and we pitched a tent and we're watching the races. And we go back to the campsite, and I remember hearing like if you get on Google Earth and you hover over Eldora, there's a if you look on Google Earth, there's like on the southeast side of the track, you can see where Earl started to create a 1 mile dirt
Mm-hmm.
track. You can actually see it on Google Earth. So I was like, yo, let's go find that. Let's go look at it. So we went back in the woods off of I think it's like the northeast corner of the track where the campgrounds end over by the Little Eldora Speedway. So we like went through those woods and we went down in the quarry and we like just were searching for this dirt track. And we stumbled upon a house back there and there was a guy mowing and we were just on this man's property, like trying to find this mile dirt track. And sure enough, it was Earl. It was Earl mowing. He stopped mowing. He was talking to us. He was super cool. He brought us inside his shop. He was showing us like the original Kings Royal hat, some trophies that he had from the Mopar Million. Just like stopped everything he was doing because we were interested kids. And I thought that was really cool. And then his wife was there, Bernice, and like even seeing how they interacted at like such an old age. Like, I mean, he was on the tail end of his life at this point. So like, but seeing their energy between each other, and he ended up like giving us a ride in his truck. He showed us around his property. He showed us like this bar and club that he used to have on one of the lakes back there. And I guess they used to do like gambling back there back in the day. And then we were like, all right, well, appreciate the tour. Like we should get back to the campsite. And he's like, well, hop in, like I'll give you a ride. And he gave us a ride back to the campsite, me and my friends. And I'll never forget that experience because we were just like rolling down the campsite and people like realized it was Earl and they were stopping the car. People were crying. Like I couldn't believe it. So just a super humble dude that like I think just had a big vision and he dreamed big, and I think that's really cool. And he treated people with respect, and that was a cool experience for me. So, like I said, I'm happy to bring something back to Eldora to try to bring more eyes to it, or make magic there because it is a magical place in a lot of ways. So, R.I.P. Earl and Bernice, absolute legends. If you guys don't know who those people are, you should definitely read Earl's book. And yeah, he was just a promoter of a lifetime. So super cool dude.
Nice. Nice. What would you like to say before we get out of here? I mean, pretty much covered every dang detail. I guess if you want a shirt, buy one. Is that the main gig? If you're not going to be at the track, get one now, and they'll be. Are you shipping them out today, or what are you doing? Because the shirt's just taking over the world too.
Yeah, so if you want a shirt, obviously show up to the merch trailer early, because I am worried we may sell out. And if we sell out, we sell out. But we do have pups.fit, and you can buy the shirt there. It is a pre-order, so they will ship the same week as the Royal. So when you get back from the Royal, you will have your shirt at your doorstep. You don't have to worry about, dragging it along with you to the races. But yeah, please help support. Like I said, this was a community effort. Ron Rutherford's not a big team. I'm not a millionaire by any means. And like I said, this was a community driven effort. So, for all the fans that are going to come and support and buy a shirt, we really appreciate it. For those that can't make it, like I said, we have an online shop. Grab one of these shirts. This is a one-time print. We will never do this again. There will never be another Bitcoin Puppets car that looks like this. So, yeah, anybody that wants to support, please, please help us out here. So, just
It is.
appreciate the opportunity to come on the show, Chaz.
It is a very interesting website. It's not .com, so I feel like it scares half the conservatives. But it is pups.fit. That is it. Correct.
Pups.fit.
You think it scares them? What about these hats? What about those? Are you going to have those at the track, or are those all?
We'll have hats, but I'm worried those are going to go even quicker. But we'll see. We'll see. So I'm just excited. The fans are excited. I'm excited. Tyler's excited. I was at the Royal in 2011 when he won in that last lap pass because Sammy got a flat. That was, I did not even think that he was in a position to win that race until it happened. So, just like I said, I think this is going to be one of the biggest Royals to date. I think the fans are going to show up. I think the drivers are showing up. Everybody's on their A game. I think it's going to be an absolute magical year at Eldora, and I'm just like super stoked to be a part of it.
Nice. Nice. Well, okay. I guess pretty much everything now. Now everybody's going off to the racetrack, racing 4:30 Eastern your time, 3:30 Central. When are you going to be rolling in? Wednesday, y'all be setting up, or is that a question right now on when you're going to be there?
Yep, so I'm up on Lake Erie right now, so I'll probably head down Wednesday morning, get there Wednesday morning, and lock in. And like I said, like happy to engage with the fans. I'm excited to meet everybody. Just really looking forward to it. But yep, I'll be there Wednesday, be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Come say what's up. If you have any questions about Bitcoin, I'm more than happy to answer it. So yeah, let's go racing.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for calling in or videoing in.
Of course.
Hopefully, we educated some people on this ordeal.
Appreciate you, Chaz. Thank you.
No problem. Catch you next week. This week coming. See you. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Markle. Mike, I know it's kind of a tongue twister when you say Michael Markle. So Mike Markle is a little easier for some. How do we get shirts? You just saw it there. Pups.fit is the website to purchase the gear if you do not plan on attending, but they'll be there in person. Wednesday, like he said, I think it is a badass shirt. It's gonna go very fast. It's gonna go very quick. And new people coming to the sport, as we led the show off with, very important. It'll be cool to splice the communities here. I know some people are saying DD is at Knoxville tonight, so Chaz will be visiting him. I may be going to Knoxville tonight. We are right down the road, but I do think we're going to be in a suite, not down there in the slums with Danny Dietrich. Maybe after the race. We'll see. I'm not sure. But I'm just kidding about the slums. Of course, Sean and Connie will be out there pushing the cars off. We'll probably be around. We'll be on the facility grounds tonight at Knoxville. And then I don't know when I'm going to be heading out. Of course, High Limits Racing Monday at Fremont. You have the Brad Doty Classic at Attica on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Eldora. We'll be at Eldora for sure. Not sure about the process until then. We will see, but we will be at Eldora. We do have seats actually being saved, so it is very interesting. Can't wait for Chaz to have to explain all the gay jokes in puppet community live during the race. Hey, man, once again, largest expansion. And in that saying, expansion has a double meaning. That's why we have to come with preparation to the racetrack. I'm just saying, not that kind of preparation, not Triple H, but preparation. You know what I'm saying? True preparation. We got to be prepared for this influx into the sport. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Links in the description to join the support. As well, you can become a member on the channel or want to maybe sponsor one day. That's what you see all these logos flopping around on the channel. We are going to be bringing the production to Eldora to have some live shows there at the Puppets trailer. We are looking, or I may have to purchase a damn Starlink. So if you got anybody with a Starlink laying around that's going to be at the track, we could definitely utilize it. Of course, cell phone activity and usage and everything like that does take away the ability to upload at a good rate. So if you know anyone with the Starlink, I feel like that's the only thing that could pull it off. Let us know here on the channel. Of course, keep up with us on our Facebooks and TikToks. Long live the Chaz on all of those. And even on the Spotify and the music and all that. We also have our podcast being posted now on Apple and Spotify and all the podcast outlets as well. But I want to thank Michael for tuning in. Can't wait for the Eldora show. It's going to be a show, the expansion, the puppets, Bitcoin in the building. It's going to be a good one that's coming up next week, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully y'all learned some stuff and all the clarity is crystal clear. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. As always, we'll catch you next time.
Sideways, living the life, living the ride. Outside, winning to die. Cross her up on the cushion, crossing the line. Caught some drama and some bullshit they didn't like. And if they don't like the move, then we're ready to fly. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wide, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. This is how we roll. This is how we do. It's not for everybody but the chosen few. And we pray, 'cause we know that